In this video, I'm going to show you how to set up a local dial-up network on the cheap. There's a few things you'll need here. A couple modems, a couple computers to take the modems. One of them has to be able to run something like Windows XP, or at least the way I'm going to show you how to do it. One of them really should be running XP. And some way to get the computers to talk to each other. And you could use a PBX or a phone line simulator. But for me, I'm going to be using this VoIP router here. According to this, it's a VoIP router. The important thing is it has two phone lines, so they can call each other. This is unlocked, and that's the main thing, is if you use one of these, it has to be unlocked. You can find these locked or unlocked for just a few bucks, but you don't really know which one it is if you go to like a thrift store or just get it somewhere else. But if you go online, you should be able to get these for about 25 bucks unlocked. Smaller, newer version, but same concept. And this is actually probably the most important thing, and the thing which can be most expensive. If you're to get a PBX or a phone line simulator, this I think doesn't really go below 100 or 150 bucks. So you can get these for free, and if you can unlock it, you're golden. The modems, it doesn't matter. One or two lines, from what I understand, this is just a pass-through. And for me, it doesn't seem to affect if I plug into this or that. For the phone line, you'll need a couple of phone cables too. And then the other thing is the computers. So I'm just using a couple of old computers here. This one I've probably, already put the modem in. If it's a half-height computer, you can just remove this and slip the modem in. But you're going to need a computer with PCI. Or if you have a modem too big to close the case on, you can just leave it open. It doesn't matter, it doesn't affect it, although it won't look as nice. So this computer's got PCI, and that's really the other main thing you'll need. I don't think they have PCI Express modems, and that's not a problem. This is running Windows 10, although this could run anything as far as I'm concerned. It could be running Windows 95 up to probably Windows 11. I'm not quite sure how to dial in with Linux, as I've never had to do that. Although it should be possible. And for macOS, I don't really know. But I would think you could dial in with at least up to, I don't know, Mavericks, probably. I don't know. Alright, so this is the server here, and I've already installed the dial-up modem in it. As I'm going to assume that you have a bit of technical knowledge if you're here. But the most important thing with the server is it has to run, if you're running a consumer version of Windows, XP Pro, I believe, is the newest you can go for this to work. Or at least I don't know how to get it to work on Vista 7, 8, 10, or 11. But you should be able to run this on a Windows server as well. Although I wouldn't be surprised if it won't work on Server 2019 or newer. And again, the hardware doesn't really matter. This is a dual-core system, but you could run this on, I don't know, probably 486 if you really wanted to. So let me boot into Windows and show you how to configure the server. Okay, so this should go without saying, but you're going to need an internet connection on the server. It can be Wi-Fi or Ethernet. I'm going to be using Ethernet in this case. And again, you will need XP Pro. Here is that showing you on XP Pro Service Pack 3. The Service Pack should not matter, but whatever, I don't really care. So what you're going to do here on the XP machine is, assuming you have internet, you can test this real quick. Open up CMD or command prompt. It's going to ping 1.1.1.1. That's working fine. What you need to do is open Control Panel. It doesn't matter if you're in the classic view or category. If you're in classic view, go to network connections. If you're under the regular one, just go under network and internet connections, network connections, and then click on create a new connection. Also, I know that I could capture the screen or use a screen recorder, but I'm too lazy. In this prompt, it's just a network connection setup. Click set up an advanced connection. Accept incoming connections. It doesn't matter if that's grayed out or not. If you have something like a FireWire card, I think that will be enabled. Doesn't matter. Accept incoming connections. And make sure the modem is here. If it's not, you might want to go under Device Manager and make sure that you don't have an unknown device. I've got my modem. I don't actually know what that is, and I don't really care because I got my modem and my internet. So I'm just going to check that box. This should just all be left standard, although I guess the port speed, you might want to bring that up all the way. Shouldn't matter. I'm just leaving that as is. I'm going to hit next. I'm going to click allow virtual private connections. This might work if you click do not, and I'm pretty sure that's the default, but I'm going to click allow. Alright, so here you can add a user, and you can use a pre-existing user, although I'm pretty sure it has to have a password. I'm going to create a new one just for the sake of this, and I'm just going to call it dial. Can you guess what the password is? It's dial. It's all the same. And I'm going to allow that to connect. Callback, I'm just going to put do not call back. This is all just the default settings. I'm going through this in case you have a problem. Alright, now under here, this is the important part, and this is what really messed me up. Under Internet Protocol, or TCP/IP, go under Properties, and by default it will look like this. You won't have anything in there. This IP needs to match the IP of the computer. Kind of. It needs to be in the same subnet. And I'll show you. If you open up CMD, or command prompt, IP config, you can see right here my IP address is 192.168.0.104, and that's my subnet. You got to keep it the same. The 192.168.0 is going to be the same for me. A lot of times it's a .1 something. Just make sure it matches up until the last three. Up to the last three. 0.1 is taken. Don't put that in. I'm starting it at 0.8 and ending it at 0.96 because I know nothing on my actual internet uses that, and it might work if you were to start it. Mine starts at 100 and ends at 240, I think. That might work, but I'm just gonna keep it from 8 to 96. And I would not select allowing them to specify their own IP because that might cause problems. They can still connect, but they're not going to have internet access. And make sure you allow callers to have access. Click next and finish. That's now connected, or not connected, but it's waiting. Alright, the next thing is to set up the actual phone lines. So I'll show you how to do that in my specific case. So I forgot to mention this, but I disabled my firewall. You can do the same by, if you're in the classic view, it's just right here, Windows Firewall, or category view, you go to Network and Internet, click on Windows Firewall, and again, you might not have to do this, but I did. I just turned the firewall off. It's probably not the greatest thing to do from a security standpoint, but I really don't think running Windows XP with the internet is a good security practice. So let's keep that in mind. That may or may not be required. Okay, so all I've done is with a hardwire I've connected to the modem here, just under Ethernet port 1 through 4, it doesn't matter, just connect the computer to it and only it. For my router, it's weird. It's 192.168.15.1. I'll zoom in here a little bit. And we're going to have to access the configuration here. So, or the login page. So this is a Linksys. You can see the firmware I'm on, and this has been unlocked. I don't actually remember the login. Might be admin. Yeah, so by default, I'm sure this is default, just admin. I didn't change much at all. And the default gateway is how you're going to log into this. So in here, when I say unlocked, I don't mean being able to access this. I mean, think of it like a unlocked phone, where you can put it on any carrier. This also confused me. So what I'm going to do here is, if you don't have these options for admin login or advanced view, it might be locked. So you're going to need an unlocked one. I'm going to click on admin login. It might prompt for another login here in advanced view. And now you can see I have all these options. Line 1 and 2, I think, are what I'm after here. Yeah. So line 1, there's a whole bunch of settings in here, and I'll probably link back to where I got a lot of this info. So right here is probably the most important part. That's what it looks like strung out. So right here, that's the number that I think line 1 accepts. So I'm just using 602 here, and I had a whole number in there. I don't know, 7878. So it could look like that if you're actually going to use a full number. I'm just going to use the area codes, which I know work backwards. You could set it to whatever you want. You could set it to, I don't know, just 6, or you could do 303. And then on the other one, you'll have to do something different. You can't just do that. So I'll just go back to 602. And that's just what this is right here. So all these settings, if you're using what I'm using, go ahead and duplicate all of these, pause the video. And this one, the only differences I think are going to be, this is using 206 instead. I hope you can see that. And then 100 instead of 101. Should be somewhere else in here how that works, I think. Yeah, user ID. So I guess this one is 101, and then the other one will be 100. And that's how you get that. So hopefully this makes a little bit of sense. Quite frankly, I don't understand what all these things do. So I can't really explain all this. But that's how it works in this specific case. So I will close out of this. And normally you would save your settings, but they're how I want them. And I will go plug this computer back into the internet and just plug in the phone lines and the client. I'll also quickly show you the only 2 lines plugged in here are the phone lines. And then power, but I had unplugged to pull it up here. That's all you need. Nothing else needs to be plugged in once you have this running. I guess optionally you could have that plugged into a different computer just so you can change the configuration, but that's all that's needed. Alright, so here I am on Windows 10, and this is how you're going to connect. Now this connects just like most dial-up networks. I'm just going to right click here, go to network options, and you can see here Ethernet is not connected and there's no Wi-Fi. So under dial-up, let me remove this so I can show you how to do it. I want to test this. These are both clean installs of Windows. I'm going to click set up a new connection. This bottom one, connect to workplace. I'd assume this is how it works in Windows 11, but I don't know. Oh, I'm sorry, I lied. Go to connect to the internet, then dial up, and then right here, I think 602 is what I got to dial. Username, dial, and dial, you can see there. I'm going to click remember this password, although it's not required, and click connect. And now we listen. Or wait, for that matter. Okay, so I don't know if you could hear that, but that was the server, actually. You're probably hearing. The test your internet connection, you don't really need to do that. Although I'll let it go just so nothing goes wrong. And now it's trying to find a driver for my mouse. And there's a reason I did not want to do this on Windows 10, but I will because it's been requested to use a newer OS. The reason I don't want to do it is Windows is going to be sending a bunch of garbage data that doesn't need to be sent. So here I will go to, you can go to any site you want. / I'll try the light version of DuckDuckGo here, and this will probably take a while. I did quickly set up Edge though prior to this, just so I don't have to go through all the prompts on camera. So just know that, otherwise there's like nothing on here. This is actually the computer from a boot race video, which admittedly the camera angle was pretty bad on. So I'll give this a minute. Another thing you could do here actually is if you want to, you could try pinging 1.1.1.1 or whatever you want, just to make sure you have data, and it looks like I do. That kind of freaked me out a little bit. If you don't, it's probably because your IP is wrong. Again, it's got to match whatever your actual network is. You can see I don't know why my default gateway is 0, but that's correct. And you can see just how long this is taking. This would be much faster, I'm sure, on Linux or a version of Windows that isn't sending a whole bunch of garbage data. And there you go. You can see it does work, although our connection speed is very slow. So over here on the server, all I did was open this up by going down here and clicking on that. You can also go under the network connections and do that, and you can see the bytes sent and received. And that computer is doing nothing right now, and thankfully neither is Windows. No, Windows is doing something. I don't know what it's doing. You can see the connection speed. That's probably not going to go over 32 or 33, and just dropped out for some reason. I got to figure that out. Alright, so I really wouldn't be surprised if, Windows has just screwed something up. I'll reconnect and give a audio sample here on the server. Okay, and just like that, we are connected again. Probably at a horrible speed here. Let's try frogfind.com. And again, this is going to be slow because it's on Windows 10. But it should be possible, and you can see just how long this is taking. And this is not by any means going to be fast, but oh, boy, is it slow. So I guess I misspoke last time. I like it because it's based off of DuckDuckGo. I don't really know Action Retro or Mac84, not personally at least, but they seem knowledgeable. At least, actually, I don't know if I know Mac84 at all. It doesn't matter. Something like that might be a little faster, but you can see it's still, actually you can't see that. It's still loading. Wikipedia.com. Let's see if I spelled that right. And it might just refuse to connect. It's not quick. And actually, if I go to log into my router here, which I might have to open a new tab for that one. Go into my router config. You can see even just this will take a while. So I'll probably fast forward. Well, this is taking way longer than it really ought to, so I'm just going to assume that Windows is doing something weird. Just strange. Let's see, maybe the internet's not working at all. Close out of this. And check back on the server, and you'll notice with stuff like that, it's kind of jank. It doesn't always work perfectly here. And I won't be surprised if that just keeps timing out. Yeah, I can see on the server Windows is trying to send a lot of data, so that's probably why it's not working. Even doing nothing. Wow, it's really moving data. I have no idea what it's sending over, but doing nothing right here. You can see it's still moving data, even though literally nothing is happening over there, at least that I'm controlling. So, well, anyway, that's how you set up a server here. And maybe real quick before this long video ends is I will try with the Mac. Okay, so I'll be honest, I've never connected with dial-up on a Mac before, so I don't know how this will work. Configuration, let's try this, 602, account name, dial, this should work. Uh-oh, I don't know if I fix this or not. Hold on. Okay, maybe this will work. It doesn't seem like it's even trying. So I don't know. It's working now. Maybe. I can hear the server. Okay, and cool. I guess I'll try and see if this works. So you can connect a Mac. Let's go to. If you can see, I don't really know a whole lot of lightweight sites here that will load on an old browser, but Toasty Tech does, and that works fine. And I wonder if I could go to my modem here. So it does work under macOS, so I don't see why it wouldn't work under Linux. I just don't know how to set up dial-up under Linux. This page might be a little bit more difficult to load, but it is loading, unlike with Windows 10. So, that's cool. I could log in, but I'm not going to. So, yeah, well, there you have it. Setting up a local dial-up network at home. Hopefully this video makes sense, and hopefully it answers a couple questions. Thank you for watching, and take care.